Queen Ranavalona of Madagascar is known for her long and ruthless reign of blood. She brutally executed anyone she considered a threat, exterminating thousands of innocents, and she was responsible for the gruesome death of many of her own subjects. But who was Ranavalona, and what drove her to be so cruel? Hello guys, and welcome. If you would like to hear more historical gossip, then just click on that subscribe button. Now, let's start today's video. Viewer discretion is advised. This is an educational documentary. It is known that the childhood of Ranavalona was marked by continuous tragedies and turbulence. She was born on November 22, 1778, in Ramavo, Madagascar, to the King Andrea Nampoinia and his wife, Queen Ranavalona. Her early years were overshadowed by political instability and continuous power struggles within the royal family. After the death of her father, the king in 1810, under unknown circumstances, there followed a strong period of political instability due to the expansion of French colonialism and opposition from her own family to the ascent to the throne of her brother Radama, who, however, died only a few years later of tuberculosis. In those years, the French army was trying to seize Madagascar and other African territories, bringing with them European goods and technologies, but unfortunately also deadly infectious diseases, including the bacterium responsible for tuberculosis. The lack of immunization and treatment caused countless tragic deaths among natives across the continent. Ranavalona's childhood is characterized by her resilience and survival instincts amid the political and familial difficult situation, and it is believed this contributed to shaping her personality and her subsequent actions as queen. After the death of her brother, Ranavalona found herself first in succession to become queen. Ranavalona ascended to the throne in 1828, thus becoming the first ever queen of Madagascar. As Queen Ranavalona earned the nickname of Queen Locust due to her authoritarian and repressive regime and due to the extensive use of violence to consolidate her power and the cruelty and brutality she applied in conducting her reign. In those years, Madagascar had a rich history with lots of different backgrounds, religions, cultures, and royal families taking turns ruling. This led to disagreements among citizens about who should be the rightful ruler. Ranavalona ruthlessly crushed all forms of opposition, resorting to public executions without regard for gender or age. These executions included horrific methods such as hanging, decapitation with a knife, throwing individuals off cliffs, drowning people with bound hands and feet, or pelting them with stones or logs thrown by those awaiting the same fate. In addition to public executions, the reign of Ranavalona is known for other forms of cruelty and violence, including forced labour and slavery. Ranavalona regularly used forced labour on prisoners and political dissidents and reduced to slavery those who opposed her regime or were deemed as a threat. Ranavalona also brutally persecuted Christians. The latter were often tortured and killed, in part because this doctrine was due to the growing European influence on Madagascar, which Ranavalona feared and disdained. Ranavalona also led to the massacre and extermination of entire communities and ethnic groups different from hers, such as the Marina, Betsileo, and Sakalava people. She also exterminated entire noble and military castes of high rank who did not sympathize with her atrocious and unconventional methods. Another noteworthy episode of the Queen that highlights her warlike reputation is her sudden and unexpected entry into war against French colonialism in the so-called Franco-Malagasy War. This war, due to the significant numerical inferiority, inadequacy, and lack in military equipment, led to the extermination of the Malagasy army and to the death of thousands of civilians. Among the cruel actions of Queen Ranavalona, there were the so-called trials of Tangina, a judicial ritual in which the suspect was forced to ingest a plant poison to determine the guilt or innocence of the accused. If the suspect survived without showing symptoms of poisoning, he was considered innocent. On the contrary, if he fell ill or died in excruciating suffering after ingesting the poison, he was considered guilty. This mixture contained highly poisonous plants such as the Mediterranean spurge and the climbing oleander, and led to the death of hundreds of innocents. Queen Ranavalona governed with firmness in an inhuman cruelty for over 30 years until her death in 1861, leaving behind her a trail of death, poverty, resentment, and pain. After her death, Ranavalona Kingdom was left extremely weak and her people had been brutally halved. Exploiting this situation to their advantage, the French colonialists used this dark period to seize this empire rich in natural resources and prosperity for their own interests. In fact, in the 1895, the French military forces invaded the island and Madagascar was officially made a colony, marking the end of its independence and its freedom as state. And you guys, did you know the story of the cruel Queen Ranavalona, whose brutality ultimately led to the downfall of her kingdom? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you liked this topic because this is part of a series of videos about iconic women of history, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for watching.